struggle is real. It's me versus me, the struggle is real. Why don't you choose yourself? Choose yourself right now. It's me versus me, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. Okay, woo. Hi everyone, welcome to Series 2, Episode 7 of It's Me versus Me Life Change Challenge. Last week we showed a video of our visit to the gym. We showed how we warm up and talked about how important it is to warm up before the exercising. We showed our walk around the walking trail. Then we demonstrated how to use several of the exercise equipment at our local gym, including the treadmill, the elliptical, and an exercise bike. It was really interesting to see how different and similar the machines can be, especially in programming the control panel in order to make the most out of our workout. If you missed that video or want to rewatch any of our previous episodes, check us out on YouTube, like right where you're at right now. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Also, if there is something specific that you would like to see, be sure to leave us a comment. You can also email us at itsmeversusmelifechange@gmail.com. Don't forget to watch us also on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Now Christian Television Network. This week we are going to welcome a special guest, Laura Winston, a W.R.A.P advocate, domestic violence response specialist with our local office here in Paris. W.R.A.P stands for Women's Rape and Resources, and we'll let Laura explain what that is when she joins us. So right after this little pause, we'll be right back. So don't go away. You will not want to miss this episode. Are you struggling with your weight? Do you feel like your health is starting to fail and the fight is just too hard? Well, you're not alone. Many people are fighting the same battle every day. Some win battles, but few win the war. And why is it so hard to win? Because you're fighting against someone who knows you very well, someone who knows your weaknesses and your faults. And who is this enemy? It's you. It's me. That's where It's Me versus Me Life Change Challenge comes in. Hi, my name is Gary Boyd, and I would like to introduce you to a life change program that you can live with and love. What will it take for you to make the necessary changes to take your life back? You can either pay now or you can pay later. The choice is yours, but just know your life is worth it. Sign up to be a participant at itsmeversusme.tv and take back your life today. As the old saying goes, just choosing changes nothing, but deciding changes everything. So why not be a part of a group of people who have chosen life and will receive much encouragement and direction throughout the journey. And I'm right there with you, as I've lost 22 pounds so far, and my household has lost 90 pounds, so we know the struggle is real. Through high-tech 3D body scanning, It's Me versus Me can help take the guesswork out of your fitness and weight loss goals through periodic measurement of your progress. So if you're tired of being tired and watching the world go on without you, make the decision. If not now, then when? Log on to www.itsmeversusme.tv to find out more on how to become a participant. Space is limited, so act fast. Remember, the struggle is real. So let's fight this battle together and be our best selves. It's me versus me, the struggle is real. It's me versus me, the struggle is real. Well, welcome back. Now, tonight on the scene is Laura's going to be joining us. Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm good.
It's good to have you tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to talk to you about this WRAP thing that you do, and I don't know anything about it, very little about it, if at all. And so tonight you have been somebody that we wanted to interview because of the things that you go through with all your clients, if you will. I don't know if you call them clients or not. When it comes to trauma, and we have dove into in the past, and I'm just going to read this off. It's Me Versus Me in Series 1, Episode 5 with Jenny Greer. We talked about how we have habits and things that causes us to be overweight and not take care of ourselves physically. And then we had Vaughn Cox in Series 2, Episode 1. And she talked about the spiritual aspect of how we treat our bodies. And then Chris Goulash is head of the Celebrate Recovery over at TVCC. And that was Series 2, Episode 2. So when we found out about you doing WRAP and the trauma response of some things that happens, we thought that it would be interesting to hear what you have to say as far as how you help people through a trauma response and how you help them to be stronger, better, because most of our overeating and most of our health issues basically comes from us not taking care of ourselves. A lot of times can be from trauma response from our childhood, from things that happen to us when we're adults. And so we found out about you and WRAP, and just kind of tell us what that means and tell us a little bit about WRAP, if you don't mind.
Okay. Of course, I'm with WRAP here in Henry County, and WRAP stands for Women's Rape and Resource Assistance Program.
Okay.
And it was founded in 1975 by a volunteer that was led to a rape crisis hotline in Madison County. And then in 1984, VOCA became law, and that provided WRAP with the funding to have opportunities to now incorporate domestic violence and provide services throughout the counties. We service 19 counties as of today, and also we also have incorporated new programs to extend with helping families and women and men that go through trauma of domestic. And a lot of people, don't know that there's many types of domestic. What we deal with on a daily basis is often emotional, verbal. A lot of people don't know that financial is also involved in domestic. An example of that would be, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been living in domestic violence for 20 years. I don't work. Right. I take care of the children. I don't manage the finances. I'm not allowed to see what finances we have. That's a form of abuse. And often people don't look at it as that, a form of abuse, because people often think the man is to lead the home and control. And, if you're living in God's eyes, this is how it's supposed to work. And oftentimes people don't consider that as, abuse. But that's just several types of abuse that we deal with. We also have programs. We have the domestic violence response. We have a sexual assault as well.
Okay.
We have residential services. We also have a DCS liaison, which works with us in our agency, which we are a nonprofit organization. They work with us, and we co-partner with DCS to not only build stronger survivors out of this, but also stronger families. Because if a woman is strong or a man overcomes this, then their children are also going to need to overcome what they've also been living in.
Now, go over what DCS is, because some people,
Department of Children's Services.
Children's Services, okay.
And you have one here in Henry County. We also provide a 24-hour helpline for crisis stabilization. We also can provide services. We, as advocates, do not counsel, but we are able to provide you with resources for counseling and therapeutic services. We can also do emergency housing in a safe home. We can do permanent housing via rental assistance and rapid rehousing. Oftentimes, when women flee, they have nothing.
Okay.
So we can step in and help with resources and provide through donations that the community makes to us. Then we donate to help families get back on their feet. Women that are fleeing, men that are fleeing. We also provide court, medical, and social economically advocacy services. We also provide emergency financial clothing, food, transportation. We can also make connections to formal and informal community resources. We try to support parents navigating the child welfare system, which is DCS. And then we also provide support and resources for family that care for children of relatives. So example of that is we have a survivor that comes in, DCS is involved. Her children have been taken away. So now they place with relatives. So as a co-partner for us, we step in through our relative caregiver program and we provide support for that family supporting our survivor to help bond, get the family back together.
Wow.
So we also have those services as well. That is a new program that was launched recently.
That would be huge.
And that's working really well. We try to support women and children. A lot of times women stay. We all know the cliche, why stayed for the children. So we try to help educate them on things such as, you have resources. You have a voice. Our motto is you drive the bus. We're just sitting there on the bus with you to kind of help navigate you where you want to go. It's ultimately your choice. You've already made the step when you've called and asked us for help. Our service is totally free. We don't ask anything of anybody, just, if it's there if you need us. We're totally confidential. We provide nothing to anyone. You call me and ask me for somebody, I don't know who you're talking about. Because we don't want to put anybody in danger.
Right.
Including ourselves. Because sometimes we are put in danger through providing services to women who are fleeing. We also try to build healthy relationships. If you have healthy relationships, you have a healthy community. So I do a lot of outreach in Henry County. I co-partner with health departments, the Tennessee Coalition. I provide any type of resource that I can find that's going to help somebody better themselves or give them the tools to at least navigate to get where they want to go.
You're right. Now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So the county, so you say you're only in 19 counties. That's actually very awesome, actually. And you're a nonprofit and you get grants from like the state of Tennessee or federal money?
I think both.
Okay. So, so you're in 19 counties. So say it's not in Benton County, but it's in Henry County. Can people from Benton County call the hotline and get help in Henry County?
Any county in these 19, there's a national hotline number as well. But if you call our 1-800 number, even if you're not in our service area, we will provide whatever possible resources that we can help you with, even though you're not in our area.
So you can
on that hotline.
So you can still help. Okay. So
if a woman calls from Shelby County, that is out of our service area. But you're calling me saying you need a place to go for the night. My job is to find you those resources.
And in that area?
In that area.
Okay.
We have a helpline. If they feel like they can't provide, then we have a 24-hour on-call service. There is somebody on this line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We will respond to that. If you feel like you need more than what the helpline, you can ask, I need to speak to someone with W.R.A.P.
Oh, good.
So then the call is transferred to the person on call, and then we try to provide instant triage. We try to triage you, try to get you to a safe place. You know, if law enforcement is involved, I mean, that often happens. Law enforcement will call our hotline and say they have a, you know, victim on the line. She needs services or she needs help, you know, and they will transfer the call to her. We will talk to her.
Okay.
We will try to provide what we can on scene as quickly as possible, because that's our goal, is to get you to safety quickly as possible.
Okay. So you work with the CS. Do you work with the elder service as well? The Department for Elder Care as well?
The Office of Aging, I myself do work with them as a resource, because I do have a variety of ages that come in needing services. So I co-partner with a lot of community members.
Well, I mean, like the department where you call where you feel like that an elder has been abused.
Yes, we are mandated by law, just like any other person. We're mandated to report any type of abuse, whether it's children, elderly, you know, animal, any of that. We are mandated by law to report that.
Now, there used to be a safe house here in Paris. Is there still one?
No.
I didn't think that there was.
It was Damascus Road, I believe is Damascus Road. Okay. And no, that's no longer, that hasn't been in service in years.
No, so you have a place like so take us through a typical day, and then we're going to get to, we're going to go into why people stay in a situation and what it takes to get to it. But let's go back. So take me through a typical call. So you've got a 1-800 number, and we have that number right here, right?
Yes.
What is that number? I forgot. I wrote it down somewhere. Here it is. 1-800-273-8712.
Yes.
And that's 1-800-273-8712. Now, if I needed to call 911, say I'm in a situation and I needed to call 911 and I needed your assistance.
Okay.
Will 911 help me get to you, or how do I find out? And you say word of mouth and stuff, but how do people really find your phone number, since you're not a 911, quote unquote, 411 information? You know, how do they really find your number, or can they call 911?
They can call 911. 911 is not going to provide you with W.R.A.P agency.
Right.
But once law enforcement arrives on scene, then I'm out in my county. So they know that I'm available.
Okay.
They can call. Often some of the officers will have my direct line or card. Also, I hand out brochures. I take brochures and cards to the police departments, to the courthouses. I ask that they be handed out when they're on scene of a domestic. And also, if anyone comes to the courthouse to file an order of protection, I ask, if it's for domestic, I ask that they provide them with my brochure and card.
Fantastic.
So that way they can call me directly. My number is on that card, and that often happens. They will go to file an order of protection, and then they will be handed a brochure and a card, and the court clerks will explain, this is Miss Winston. She does domestic violence here in Henry County. You can call her at this number.
Well, can I ask this? So you had said earlier that you needed to go through the 1-800 number. So if your card and your brochure was given to them on scene, then they don't have to go through the 1-800 number.
They can call me directly.
They can call you directly, so they don't have to go through the proper channels per se.
Right.
They don't have to do that. And so they call you.
And oftentimes, law enforcement will be on scene and they don't want to talk because it's too much,
right?
Especially if they have medical injuries. It's just too much
and
for them.
Fear of the person that's been abusing
and especially
them.
if the abuser's not arrested,
right?
Then he's still out there. They're actively looking for him. So oftentimes we do get that, but the officers will provide them with a brochure.
Okay.
And I would say 90% of the time they will call us the next day once things have calmed down.
Sure.
Once we've gotten and if we have to hotel, saying it's an emergency, and they're fleeing and they have nothing but what they left with, I need a place to go. We will hotel. And then once the situation has de-escalated, you have time to take a breath, time to gather your thoughts and think, then they will often call us from there. If we hotel, 90% of the time, we're going to do services with you because it's going to lead to that.
So that comes out of the budget from the grants and everything that
Yes,
y'all have.
that we're provided.
Do y'all, I know this is a crazy question, and in my mind, I'm thinking if I'm running for my life, my biggest fear would be I wouldn't have a phone to call somebody. Say, for instance, somebody has to run for their life and they have to leave everything behind. They don't even have any shoes on. They just have to run. Is that something that you guys would provide for them, like a track phone where they could stay in touch with their families or call you guys?
It often depends. That has to go through, different channels in our agency, has to be approved, things like that. That's just not something we can provide just like off the top. Hey, here's a cell phone. We try to work and see how we can reach out to the community. We often contact churches. We often contact other agencies, such as Tomorrow Hope, the Coalition, things that we know where we can get resources. We try to hook them up with those resources and try to find ways. Hey, Salvation Army, or we have a business that we do things with. Hey, we've got this survivor. This is the situation. Could you provide this for us? We're always looking for resources to help our victims, start over, because that does happen. That happens often. They make it down the street to someone's home and they call 911. Then they come on scene. And that's kind of how, we now in the Madison County, which is a bigger county, you have a city there. It works basically the same, but sometimes a little bit differently because, the bigger the community, the better the resources. So that's kind of how it works, when it's a little bit. But in rural counties, it is a real struggle.
Now, do you try to get them counseling, like family counseling?
I provide resources such as Carry, Pathways, even Hometown Health Clinic has their own social worker. So, I have a resource connection with her. I think you might benefit. Let's try this. I also use resources in Camden, Health Connect America. I try to link them up with anything that's going to benefit their mental health, because that's a big, if you're not mentally healthy, then that's really hard to make the right decisions, which path to go, those type things. So if we can get you mentally healthy, then you're able to make better decisions. Therefore, you understand how to learn to set boundaries, good boundaries, healthy relationships. You'll notice red flags now, those type things. That's what we try to educate them on, to be trauma informed, to provide them with the tools they need to be successful.
So when we think about what all this has to do with what we do, it's Me Versus Me Life Change Challenge. We learn our habits, we learn our coping mechanisms from trauma that we have learned a lot of times in our past, in our childhood, things like that. So, so you had talked about, I wanted to go over some stuff that's kind of not so much what you do, but kind of what you deal with, like trauma with people that why do people stay in a situation
that's
for
unhealthy?
30 years or 40 years or 50 years? Why do they stay in a situation? Now, I know what I think and I know how I feel, but tell me what your facility goes for.
We call that trauma bonding. And what trauma bonding is, it's a cycle of physical and emotional abuse that creates a strong attachment between the person that's being abused and the person that is abusing, which is reinforced by periods of love and affection and then periods of de-evaluation and emotional abuse. And there's 7 stages of that. And from 1 to 7, people the people that come to us really understand those 7, because you'll have a lot of women say, that's my life. That's what I've been going through. Thank you for putting a name to it.
Right.
Because
I've never heard it before. This is the
yeah,
first.
because you're as a survivor, you're trying to figure out what's doing all, like, why am I staying? Why can't I leave? What's going on? And your body physically becomes addicted to that abuse. And you don't look at it like that. Like, you just think, oh my gosh, I can't get out. I can't leave. It's for the kids. I don't have any money. All those factors. And you're like, what's making me do that? And it's trauma bonding. You bond with that person, even though it's unhealthy, the bond is still develops. So the first one, love bombing. I shower you with love. Love, love, love you. You're the greatest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Well, then once that's developed, okay, now it comes the truth, the trust and dependency. Okay. So now I'm going to try to do everything to make you understand that I'm all you need. You don't need anybody else. You don't need your family. You don't need any of this. All you need is me. So now you've gone into the criticism part. Now I trust you. You love me. You tell me I'm the greatest. But now I'm fixing, this is where I start the real process of getting you here and bonded. I start criticizing you. I start making you second guess yourself, things like that. Now here's the best one. This is the one that all women and men really say, oh my gosh, gaslighting. They gaslight you. They do things knowing you are going to react to that. You try not to, but it happens.
Okay, so gaslighting. So what is the purpose for somebody to gaslight another person?
So when things go wrong, guess whose fault it is? Yours. Then they say, okay, you doubt your own opinions. You doubt your beliefs. Okay, well now I should see it your way. Your way must be the best. Like, they literally almost trick you into thinking there's no other way but their way. Then they go to resigning the control. You no longer know what to believe, but your only way of experiencing the good feelings of love bombing is to give them their way. Okay, so I'm going to do what you say, because if I do, then you're going to tell me how great I am and how much you love me. Because if I don't, what am I going to get? I'm going to get criticized. I'm going to get berated. I'm going to get told how stupid and dumb that if you hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have hit you. If you hadn't have talked to that person, I wouldn't have hit you. I wouldn't have screamed at you. I wouldn't have called you a fat pig, or I wouldn't have called you these names. And, I wouldn't talk about you like that if you hadn't have done all that. So then it becomes, you lose yourself. At this point, you're on step 6. You have no idea who you are anymore. You're just a product of what 1 through 5 have been. So now we get to the part that goes with your chemical, your hormones, your imbalance, your, the highs, the fight or flight.
Yeah.
Now becomes the addiction. Now you're addicted to all the highs and lows. Your body is on a constant cortisol high, which is stress, and it craves the dopamine, which is pleasure. This creates the cycle of dependency that feels just like a drug. And if I had probably a penny for every woman or man that I've talked to, that is the number one thing that they connect with.
Is
the addiction.
The addiction. They realize it's an addiction. After do you have to point it out to them, or they realize it's an addiction?
Once we go over these 7 stages of trauma bonding, it's almost like you see lights come on. Because you have now given them an explanation to what they've been living in. And they're like, oh my God, this is really what was happening. And it's not easy to come, like, as all we all know, if you become addicted to something, it's not easy to leave it. It's not easy to come off of it. It's not easy to leave it alone. And I guess what I try to make people understand is that is like, it's like recovery. You have to go into recovery from the relationship that you've been in, because how else are you going to get away from that? Because oftentimes, as people who survive it and go back, you don't realize you're going back because you're addicted. You're addicted to that chaos. You're addicted to that. I don't know if I can sleep tonight because I don't know what he's going to do or she's going to do. I don't know if they're going to. You're addicted. You are addicted to the trauma that you're living in.
So the way I look at staying in a bad relationship like that is staying in a bad job.
Yes.
If I stay in a bad job, I automatically know where my paycheck is. I know how much I'm going to get. I know what I'm supposed to do there. I know what's bad about it. I know what's good about it. I know who's there that I can tolerate, who I can't tolerate.
And you have women that will say that to, advocates. Hey, I don't, this is normal. They'll say it, the word, this is normal. This is my normal life. I thought that, I can't provide for myself. I haven't worked a job in 20 years.
At least I know where he's at, or she. I know what they're capable of. I know what I'm capable of not doing.
And
or
a lot
doing.
of women, they have their own system of surviving.
They do.
They have their own system of surviving. They've lived with this person for 15 years. They know every move. And okay, so I know that when he comes home, I'll have this, and this, and it'll prevent this, and this, and then, it's a peaceful night. And that becomes their life. That is what that's why, I know law enforcement, and I know as advocates, and I know as just families in general, we get frustrated when we see this happening. And like for law enforcement, it's the repeat returns.
Yeah.
I've been out here 21 times and you still go back.
That's right.
But what about that 22nd time when you don't go?
Yeah, and because of the position that a person's put in, I've been in a relationship like that before, where I didn't have any money, I didn't have a vehicle, I didn't have anywhere to go, I didn't have
no family,
and it does put you in a place to where you don't know where to go. And if somebody like you, somebody can call you and say, hey, I really need help. You've got all these resources. That's really cool that you know all these things.
And we tried our best to get you to a safe place right then. We know that because I'll tell you this, the most dangerous time for a survivor is the moment they leave.
I know.
Because that is the moment the abuser realizes that they've lost control.
Yep.
And so we try to educate on that. If you feel like you can't leave right now, it's okay. You can still call me when it's safe. We can go through all these, we can go over learning how to set good boundaries, learning what a healthy relationship look like, learning all these things that when you do get ready to leave, you have this knowledge that's going to empower you to be able to get out and stay out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times women will say, well, I didn't know that there was this. Or I went back because I didn't feel like there was nobody to help me.
I didn't have anywhere to go.
And that's why I really, really try to do as much outreach in the community that I can to let people know, hey, I'm here. I service all of Henry County. So that means Puryear, Cottage Grove, Henry. If it's Henry County, I'm here. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you.
Wow.
And it doesn't cost a thing. That's the great part about it is for the first time, you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I don't have money to pay for this.
No insurance.
Yeah, I have no insurance. No, I'm free.
Right.
I'm free. I'm free to help you drive the bus. You drive the bus. I'm going to sit here and help you navigate to where you want to get to.
That seems very fulfilling for a job that you do. That's amazing, because there's no telling how many families that you have helped mend and
I've actually,
heal and
because a lot of people,
legacies for
Yes.
generations after that.
because a lot of women have broke years and years of abuse that they saw their mother go through, their mother saw their grandmother go through, or even men. You know, a lot of people don't realize men are abused just as well. So, and they're less likely to come
Say
forward
anything.
because they are a man.
And they're
But
embarrassed.
yes, because they think, oh, you know, why you know, what kind of man are you to let a woman hit on you?
Yep.
Or you know, your partner hit on you. Well, you're a human being, is what you are, and it's okay. I'm here for you as well. So it's all about just getting out there, letting people know I'm here. I can help. If I can't help, I'm going to find somebody that can help us.
Yeah. Now, whenever this happens and you have an abusive situation, male or female, now the kids, when they get into DCS and stuff, they try to make sure that the kids don't go to foster care and things like that, that they try to stay with the parent.
This actually keeps, our relative caregiver program keeps children out of the system.
That's really great.
It provides the family with financial support, because if you think about it, often families can't help women that are running because, number one, they don't have the financial means.
Right.
They don't have maybe they don't have the beds or the things that essential needs of you know, if my parents are 60, 70 years old and I flee and I go to stay with them, you know, it's almost another burden on them. So people step in. We're here. We can step in. We can help you financially. And then that gives you time to figure out what you need to do. That gives you time to comply with what Children's Services need of you.
Yep.
And then the ultimate goal is to reunite you with your child in a safe, healthy environment.
Well, when you talk about the family unit, a lot of times that person has left and come back and left and went back and left and went back, to the point where families don't know what to do with their loved one that's going through
And we
all of
see that very lot.
Yes,
and
I know
often,
that you do.
often women say to me, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you understand," because families don't understand.
I get it.
Why do you keep going back? Well, you're not walking in my shoes.
And it's,
That saying is so true with domestic violence.
It is true.
Until you walk in my shoes, you can't judge why I went back 20 times or why I left the first time. You have women who come through the door that say, you know what? I'm not dealing with this, and leave and stay gone. You have people who've been married 20 years walk through the door and say, I've had enough. They divorce and, you know, live their best life later on.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have to worry about, I'm going to walk on eggshells. Or, you know, if he says I'm fat and ugly, well, I'm just going to go eat, you know, this much food and I'm going to make it true. Just things like that.
Right.
Like, no, families don't understand. So it's often a relief to survivors to actually talk to someone who's not judging them. Because the family, we all know as human beings, judgment comes.
Yep, it
regardless of if,
even when you don't try to.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that is a comfort to them often, is that you understand what I'm talking about. You're speaking my life and you don't even know me.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot.
So this cortisol, dopamine issue of fight or flight, addiction, I can see where this particular situation, this feeling, we have that with our eating issues as well, our addictions, whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex,
because you're
gambling,
it's
spending.
almost providing, you're getting satisfaction from that service.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be, okay, I got bullied today at school about my weight. So I'm going to go home, and because that upset me, I'm going to eat that pint of ice cream. And I'm going to know myself that it's wrong, but I cannot stop it because You have those chemicals that provide that pleasure. Okay, that ice cream provides me comfort. So it releases that dopamine. So now I want more of that. I want more of that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to eat more because that's what it provides me. Not realizing that your body is literally addicted to these
Feelings.
hormones and being up and down, up and down. Like a survivor will tell you, I stay on, like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I've got to be on guard. So then your stress level's up. So if you're in a constant state of roller coaster and then all of a sudden it just cuts off.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's almost like it's literally coming off a drug. But the drug is the abuse.
Right. Well, so I'll tell you what, a lot of the participants that we have a lot of childhood trauma. And
I don't think anybody wakes up and says, hey, I'm going to gorge myself today. Or, hey, I'm going to beat my wife up today. Or, hey, I'm going to beat my husband up today. Nobody wakes up and says that.
Yeah.
But you are conditioned over time through trauma. Hey, I had a dad who constantly yelled all the time. So I grow up and guess what? That's what I do. I yell all the time. I yell at my kids. I yell all the time. But I was conditioned that way.
And not just in childhood either. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
Sometimes it is
As
a
adults.
relationship that we get
adults.
into.
Hey, my husband is constantly talking to me about, my hair needs to be in place and, I've got to have certain clothes on and I need to look this certain way when we go out in public. We need to behave this. Okay. So now your body's stressed because you're like, oh my God, I got to get this right. Well, then when he looks at you and says, oh, you're beautiful. You did an excellent job tonight. Now your body's releasing the pleasure hormone. So as human beings, we all want that. We want that more than we want the stress hormone.
Yeah.
So now, but guess what? Now we're going home, and on the way home, he punches me in my face because somebody looked at me because I looked nice for you tonight. So now I'm back in that, oh my God, I got to jump out this car. Is he going to kill me type?
Right.
So now your body's fight or flight. So let's say this goes on for 2 or 3 days. Now we're on our 3rd day. You know what? My bad. I'm sorry. You didn't look at him. It was just me, So now you're like...
That's the honeymoon phase.
Yes. So now you're like, okay, did I do, So now, okay, well, I need comfort. So I'm going to go, with me, it might be chips. I'm going to eat a whole bag of chips, sitting there thinking, okay, I need to do this and I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And then, 6 weeks from now, I go to the doctor. I've gained 20 pounds. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I could have gained all that weight. Well, tell me what you've been doing. Well, and then you don't want to tell.
Right.
Because,
Right.
now I'm going to have to tell you that I'm getting beat up every day or every other day because of something I'm not even doing. But I'm being made to believe that I'm doing that. So now I really am doing it. So now my body's so confused. But do that for years and years and years.
Wow.
And then say 6 years you've done this. So at that 6-year mark, you're like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm not doing this no more.
When does it come down to, you have a lot of clients that finally says enough is enough? When do they decide? What is there a certain breaking point that a person, now I know you've got some things on here where it talks about affirmations and stuff, but recovery do's and don't checklist. So let's go over that. So really what I would like to know is, because I think we have to ask ourselves, just with this me versus me, we need to ask ourselves, when is enough for us to take care of ourselves physically?
Right.
When is
Does something happen to happen traumatically to like snap you back into reality? Oftentimes, yes. Like, for like just survivors, he broke my arm. He's not broken a bone these whole 6 years, but now he's broken my bone.
Now he's escalated.
Yes, now you've broken my bone. That might be enough for you. Let's say me versus me. I'm 300 pounds. I go to the doctor. The doctor says to me, either you lose weight or you will not be here in 6 months. Does that trigger a response? Does that make you say, okay, is that enough? Or does that send you in a spiral?
Or
And
you
say,
eat more.
you know what?
not worth
Basically,
it.
all I heard was I'm going to die.
So might as well
now
die
I'm going
happy.
to, yes. So, and,
Right.
and, you know, you look
That's
at it
true.
like that. And then with the survivor, you know, he says, well, nobody's going to want you. Don't matter what you do. You can lose all the weight. You can look, but nobody's going to want you. So then okay, well, if he's true, then, you know, a lot of women go from being these successful, independent, and then they get with someone who is narcissistic and abusive, and you don't even recognize them in 2 or 3 years. Or they don't, a lot of women say to me, I don't even recognize who I am. I don't know this person.
Yeah.
Who is this? So each person individually, I think it's just, what is your breaking point? Like, what will you tolerate to the point where you say, okay, that's it. I can't, you know, or, you know, some women will be like, well, he hit my child. You know, it came to that point where he hit the child, or, you know, he's going to take the children from me, or he's threatened to run off and disappear. Like, I think it just depends on, you know, what is your breaking point? What is your point where you say, okay, I've got to make a change? Regardless, because we're all human. Nobody likes change.
Yeah. No.
It's not, but change is good. Change is always good.
I agree.
So I basically say, are you ready to, you know, are you ready to change? It's not so much you changing, it's just empowering you to find yourself.
Sure.
If you find yourself, then you're going to be empowered to make the change. I'm not going to have to suggest it to you because you're already there knowing it's got to happen. It's just, I think with anybody losing weight, leaving a relationship, you don't want to do that because you know what comes along with that. But at the same time, you don't want to stay stagnant and stay in this relationship because you could die from obesity or you could die at the hands of your abuser.
That's right.
So it's, you know, it all ties in together. If you're mentally healthy, you're going to be physically healthy most of the time. 90% of the time, if you're mentally healthy, and I mean mentally healthy, you know, your mental is stable, you are just overall feeling of happiness, you are going to want to be healthy physically.
Wow. That's really awesome. What is these recovery do's and don't checklists? This is very interesting to me.
Part of this is I will trust my gut.
Now, these are survivor things.
These are what we provide for our survivors as just a simple reminder, you know, just things we've forgotten being in abusive relationships. You forget a lot of things that you're really a strong person, because to survive abuse, you cannot be weak. You cannot be weak. Even though they tell you are, you are not weak.
Right.
Because you're surviving mental, emotional, physical, and verbal abuse most of the time on a daily basis. So we tell you, tell yourself, you will no longer take part in impossible situations. You can't make someone change. That's the biggest thing is, if I love you enough, you will change and not hurt me anymore. No. That you can't control change. You can't make someone change. They have to change for themselves. I will take it one day at a time. When people leave, they're like, I got to do all this. No, you don't. Take a breath. One day at a time. Because you can't control what tomorrow is going to bring. I will manage my emotions rather than have them control me. I will encourage myself for positive thoughts. Negative thoughts, I will not panic. We all have negative thoughts. You know, we're human. It's okay. It's okay to be you. I think that's what the most important thing. It's okay to be you, because you have spent a lifetime being told it was not okay to be yourself. I will take back my power. That's the biggest one. I will take back my power. Because we all in abusive relationships feel powerless. You feel the most powerless you have ever felt. Even if you walk with God, you still feel powerless because you have no control over what's going on. But you do. You do have control. You've just let someone tell you that you don't.
Yeah.
We also ask, believe in yourself. My favorite saying, and I'll tell anybody, who's got you better than you? Besides God, who's got you better than you? Mm-hmm. Nobody.
Right.
You're always going to do what's best for you when it comes down to it. Also, if I feel emotionally unstable, I will try to connect with the object. I will not try to connect with the object of my obsession. I will have compassion for myself and pay attention to my feelings. I will make it a goal to build a brand new toxicity-free life for myself. And that is a big one. Toxic relationships. And people think it only happens in domestic. No, it does not. You can have a toxic relationship with your mother, your father, your cousin, your brother, your sister. It's just toxic.
Your kids, your work.
Yes, work. It's just not limited to domestic violence.
Right.
Last one is I will enjoy the rest of my life. I will remind myself that no matter what I've been through, life is good. Life is always going to be good. It's what you make it. What do they say? You take lemons and make lemonade?
Right.
We give affirmations to repeat to yourself every day. And it's 5 of them. I have no more energy to give to the people who harm me. And that's a big one. Because we put all our energy into that.
Yeah.
And you just don't. When you're ready to leave, I think you have you have no more energy to give to it. And that's a lot of times the light bulb for women is like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired and I don't have this in me anymore. And that's, when they come to us, they're like, we're tired. That's a lot of phrases will be, I'm tired and I have no more energy for this. So we also want you to be my emotional health is more important than supplying power to someone else's ego. That refers to like a narcissistic person. Because what do they want? They want constant praise. They want that ego to be big. They want you to feel like you're beneath them, that they're the greatest in the world. They control everything. You don't feed into that. When you hear him on that phone or you hear her on that phone telling you, oh, I love you, please come back, I won't do
I'll do better. I
yes,
won't lie.
no. My newfound clarity will guide me. I will become rational and logical, which is why I'm seeking support to begin with. And then I am worthy of happiness. That's the best one. Everybody deserves to be happy. Nobody should live their life walking on eggshells. And we all do that in some form of way. Like, I ate, a whole pizza. Now you're thinking, oh my God, if I go to the doctor, I don't want to tell them, I did this, now. And oftentimes, in young people, girls especially, I got to look a certain way. So I ate this whole pizza, but now I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to throw this all up.
Oh, wow.
So that I can be skinny.
Sure.
Because society says that's what the perfect woman is like.
That's right.
Well, there's no perfect woman. Every woman is perfect, regardless of what you look like. So you don't have to, those are the type of feelings, again, that roller coaster. I eat this pizza. Oh my God, it was just delicious, that pleasure. Then you start thinking about, oh my God, how many pounds was that? How many calories was that? Then you're like, oh no, I got to get this. I got to get this up. Because like I was saying earlier, what do you do when you feel bad? You want to get it out. You want to get it out.
Yeah.
So I tell my survivors, what's the easiest way to make yourself feel better? Throw up. You throw it up. When you throw up, how many of us feel better when we throw up? So now it's not in me. That poison's not in me. That badness, it's not in me no more.
Yeah.
So now I can start what? Now what do you do after you do that? Oh, I feel better. Now I start healing.
Right.
Now I'm going to take the steps to heal me because I don't like that sick feeling. Nobody likes to be sick. Nobody wants poison running through their veins. None of that. So what's the easiest way to get it away from you? Throw it up. Get it out.
In other words, talk to somebody.
Yes.
Call somebody.
Anybody that you think that's not going to be toxic to you.
Yeah.
A lot of times abusers, don't talk to them. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you right. I know what's best for us. I'll do better.
Yeah.
And then no, we're not doing better. Now I'm out here at 6 a.m. running down the street in my gown, holding my kids, trying to get away from you because you just cheated on me, for instance. And now I'm going to beat you up because now you're making me feel bad because you're so good to me. See, that's what people don't, you're good to me, okay? But I'm cheating on you. Now you're making me mad because it's making me uncomfortable that you're bothering my conscience.
Right.
You're bothering it.
Yeah.
You're upsetting my ego.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to punish you for that. So now you're getting beat up for that person cheating on you when all you said maybe was, where you been tonight? Or did you have fun while you were out? Like something very simple can lead to something very dangerous.
Yeah.
When you're living with someone like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you and I both know back in the day, you didn't talk about. Nothing was talked about. Now in generations, now that we've gotten to this age, it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything needs to be talked about
I agree.
out in the open because, we can prevent a lot of things. Get it out.
Right.
If I can't help you, I'm going to refer you to somebody that can.
I love your program. I think it's amazing. I'm going to give the number again. It's 1-800-273-8712. And it is a nonprofit free service, W.R.A.P, that you can call if you have any kind of, and this is not so much on it's me versus me, but it really is because abuse to ourselves. Why do we stay in an abusive relationship? Why do we abuse ourselves by overeating, by not taking care of ourselves? The same harm to me when you stay in a relationship and you get beat down and stuff, you do that to yourself as well. When you're trying to take care of yourself, when you choose to stay in that relationship, it's a destruction. When we choose not to take care of ourselves, it's a destruction.
Also destruction.
It's a destruction no matter how you look at it. So you can let somebody else abuse you, or you can also abuse yourself.
And it all comes from trauma, some type of trauma that you've experienced in your lifetime that maybe you didn't deal with, or you dealt with it but not enough to where you are comfortable in not re-traumatizing yourself.
Well, I think when you have been beat up, you're good at self-sabotaging yourself to feel that same way about yourself all the time. Whether somebody's making you feel that way or not, you're actually making yourself feel that way. And I think sometimes it's a vicious circle because you're used to feeling that way, and then if nobody's around to make you even feel that way, you've got everything under control. You've gotten a situation. You're making money. You're doing fine.
You're
but you're
physically
still
healthy.
You're still
all those things.
You're still closet eating.
Yep.
Because
you're self-sabotaging because you're looking for that
feeling.
You're looking for that hormone, that imbalance with those chemicals, and that's what people don't realize. It is truly an addiction. At some point, at some stage in that abusive relationship, it is an addiction just like you being on any type of drug that's going around. It's the same thing. It's just not people don't look at it as a drug. But it really is. Like, once you have lived in, and you think about in the 50s, 60s, 70s, women living in abusive relationships for 30, 40,
never saying a
50
word.
years. Then say their spouse dies. Okay, now you don't have that.
Right.
So shortly after that, sometimes maybe the other spouse dies because you cannot function without that chaos. And that's the biggest thing I think women, we talk about, is being able to function after the chaos.
Yep, that's a big one.
And then that's where it can lead into, okay, now I'm out of this abuse, so I need to feed that. So now it's food. Food is,
or alcohol.
Yes.
Or drugs. Or sex.
Now you're,
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, I fixed this, but now I really didn't, because I'm fueling it to feel that need again. So that's where counseling comes into play, very intense, therapeutic. I can't provide that, but I can offer the services that can. I can refer you to them. I can help you look up places to go if you need to get inpatient, or if, you often come with addictions and abuse. So, and that's your trauma bonding, because he was doing drugs. So in order for me to not get beat up on,
drugs.
For us to get along, I did drugs. Now I'm hooked to drugs and still being abused. And now I don't know how to get out of this. And often that happens.
Yes.
And they'll come and say, I've been clean for this many days, but this is what's going on, and I'm being abused.
Wow.
So then I can say, okay, let's look at, what do you feel like is going to help you? What do you look at? Because you always want them to tell you. I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to do it. I'm just here to provide you with the questions that you ask. Do I have this resource for you? Yes, this is a resource. I let you call them. I let you drive the bus, because ultimately there's going to be a day where I'm not there.
Sure.
So I want to be able to empower you to be able to drive that bus if I have to get off and stay on course.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Well, I know you're changing a lot of lives, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You're a beautiful person. I know that you care deeply about people, and I'm thankful that you're in the position that you are. And I'm just thankful that you're here. Thank you for giving us this time of your time.
You're
I know
welcome.
your time is precious.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before you go? And you can talk
if there's anybody in the county that needs help, that doesn't, feels like they don't want anybody to know, you call that number. I promise you, nobody will know anything on my end.
Wow.
It'll be only if you decide to share that with someone.
Wow.
Because that gives you the power to gain power back in confidence, and not have to go around explaining yourself to everyone.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you just want to talk, you don't have to. If you just want to call and say, look, this is my whole life, and then that's it, that's okay.
I do want to say, and I keep going back to this, I know that I got a little teary-eyed, so I got a little runny nose, but a lot of times people won't call because they're afraid of what will happen with their kids. Again, you work closely with the DCS.
Yes, we do.
People, and so you have the relative program and things like that. So if there's any woman or women or men or whatever out there that feels like that you need to call, and you've got kids and you're afraid they're going to be put into the system, or you're going to lose their kids.
Yes, but you have a parent that says, I will take your kids if you will go and leave him and get help. Yes, because that prevents the family breakdown. We're also trying to, people don't realize abuser isolates family. That is his number one enemy, his family. And even worse than that is a very involved caring family. Like, that is his number one nemesis.
Yeah.
Because if he can break that bond, that's it. He has you. So if there's relatives out there that say, hey, my daughter, my son's in an abusive relationship, but I feel like I can't take care, I can't provide what I need, that's where the relative caregiver steps in. And our program, you know, if you qualify, there is a process. Like any other thing, there's a process. You qualify, then those kids can come and stay in their own family in a good environment while mom or dad, you know, gets healthy mentally, because that's what it all boils down to, is being mentally healthy. They get mentally healthy, then they're able to take care of their kids. The family is able to step back into their lives, be a part, be that support. Because like you said, families get tired.
Yeah.
They get tired of their loved one going back 20, 30 times. And they just run out of frustration, options.
Right. Yeah.
But we try to provide, hey, you know, we have these services out here. It's relatively new, but they are available, and we're willing to work with anybody who wants to leave, wants to be free of that, and just make that step.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, 1-800-273-8712. I want to thank you again, Laura, for being with us. You are amazing, and I just want to say God bless you and your family.
Thank you.
You so much.
Thank you for having me.
I just want to conclude tonight with what I'd like to tell you, some statistics. Out of 100%, let's say your crimes reported in Tennessee, 46% of those crimes that are called in do involve domestic and sexual violence and stalking. So 40% out of 100 of what crimes are committed in Tennessee involve sexual, domestic, or stalking. That's a huge, huge, huge percentage. And one more thing that's really statistically, I don't like to hear this. 10%. Tennessee has consistently ranked in the top 10 among all 50 states, the top 10 with the highest rate at which men kill women in a domestic homicide. Tennessee is 10th in all the states for men killing women in domestic homicides. I think that is staggering. It is sad. It's shocking. I just can't even believe that that's Tennessee. That's crazy. This is a problem, and I know the show Me Versus Me is not just about this particular situation, but when it comes to trauma and what we do to ourselves and where our comfort level is when it comes to our taking care of ourselves, whether it be living in an abusive situation or taking care of ourselves physically. I like what Laura said when she says, when you're mentally healthy, you'll be physically healthy. When you're mentally healthy, you can be physically healthy. And I do believe there's a lot to that, and I love that. I feel that is the truth, actually. Now, tonight, I hope that you got everything that you needed out of tonight's show. Join us again next Sunday at 8 p.m. with the newest episode of It's Me Versus Me Life Change Challenge. And if you would like to become a part of It's Me Versus Me, we are accepting new participants to be a part of our Life Change Challenge. So if you would be interested, just contact us on www.itsmeversusme.tv. If I don't get back with you, just call me at 731-924-9249. And there are so many reasons to be healthy and get healthy. So let us help you reach that goal. God bless to all, and until we meet again Sunday at 8 p.m., take care and keep believing in yourself. Bye-bye.
Me versus me, the struggle is real. It's me versus me, the struggle is real.